Lifers podcast. Get with it or get forgotten.
Yo, let's try.
Yo, hold on, we got a guest.
Our first guest of the night.
Hey.
Trap. What's up, baby?
Yo, show the shit. That shit is fire.
Can we hear you?
All right, Trap.
Yeah.
Analysis of the draft.
Este es Pepito Popingo. Estamos aquí en la cena tratando de setear todo, tú sabes, para disfrutar este draft.
For international listeners.
Dale.
Yeah, I love it.
He saw that Pitbull fucking entrance.
Is that Missile 305 straight from the crib? Quarantined
Yes. All
The
day.
roll ride.
Hey,
up, you know.
I have a question for you, man.
Yeah.
How, we're gonna play a little bit of a fortune teller. How do you see this first round going for the Miami Dolphins?
I see chaos.
Love it.
I see chaos. I see chaos. They ain't never done anything like this before. With the fans, they run the draft. This they draft. They got the capital. They got the cap. They got the assets. They had a good free agency. But I just don't think Coach Flo is going to take a risk. I think he's going to lobby Greer and the rest of the other two brothers, 4 brothers running this draft. It's the only draft where you have 4 African Americans making all the decisions for the future of the franchise. And I love that. It's historic. And I just think that Coach Flo just got a way about him. A lot like the greats do. Not saying that he's there yet, by no means. I don't think he would say that, but I think he's going to, be on the side of, I need availability. I need somebody that's going to be out there on the field and be my general all the time.
Thank you.
And I may not agree with the decision because I feel like, the other traits weigh just as much. But again, we don't got the whole totality of the information.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why it is. I think we've done a great job. I think we're a disciplined group. Marvin Allen, Reggie McKenzie, Chris Greer, Coach Flo. I think they're a disciplined bunch. They dogs. And, I gotta kind of accept what they've come up with and what they're going to do in this first round. I think we're going to come away with 3 picks.
Okay.
I think it's going to be 3.
Okay.
I think they want assets. I think they want quantity. I think, they want quality. They want availability. There's certain traits. This is a beautiful wife there. Over here, we got wings and ribs going.
Nice.
Love it, man, like it's supposed to happen.
All right, Trop. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
What quarterback do you want the Dolphins to draft tonight?
Quarterback, my QB1 outside Burrow is Tua. And, behind him, I think Love's got some traits that I'd like to cultivate. And, with Chan Gailey and that staff they got down south, I think to be able to do something with that. Outside of that, I think the kid from FIU got a cannon.
He does.
And he's got some good traits too.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon.
I think you're going to see some quarterbacks taken in the later rounds that are going to be around for a while. Jalen Hurts got them traits too. He got that dog in him.
Yes, sir.
So I think I'll be happy with any decision they make. If I had to make a choice at 5, I would pick Tua. But again, I don't got all the medicals and but that would be my pick based on what I know right now.
Bet.
Kevin is in love with Herbert. Are you okay with Herbert?
Yo, you can't put that.
Herbert's got some good traits too.
Oh.
I think Herbert. The thing is, there's certain things you can't teach.
Yeah.
And if you bring him into the fold, into the picture, you're kind of repeating what you've already done in the past.
Yep.
And I don't think this fan base, wants that. We want to take some risk. We want to.
Yes.
They took a risk when they traded Tunsil and Minka. I almost call him Finka. But
Finkel.
All right. Finkel, right? Still appropriate that I messed up. you took some risk there, you know, and it didn't yield exactly what you wanted, right? Like we thought, like maybe we'd be better than 18 with that pick, you know, and then we kind of knew Houston was going to be all right, and you know, going to the postseason. Now I don't know about that. I don't know about next year. we own them too.
Sean, they trust.
Exactly. So, you know, I trust the brain trust. I like the class. Eason also got some good traits. I think Herbert does got some good traits. I just wouldn't give it to him on 5.
Okay.
You know, I wouldn't give him that on 5. Pick 5. I would. You really like, you know, if the difference between Eason, Hurts, and the kid from FIU, can't think of his name right now. You gotta weigh how big of a jump and leap is that from what you're gonna get with Herbert. And if you, you know, are 18, I mean, shit, there's a chance Tua might fall to 18.
Yeah.
And we scope him up at 18, you know, then that's a whole other thing. I think the franchise has done an excellent job of creating, whether it's been intentional or coincidental, screens and smoke. You know, regardless, I just think it's the environment we're in. That's why it's going to be chaos.
Love it.
Hey man,
Love it.
I do have a follow up question if you don't mind. Yeah, you already know, bro. Fins up all the way. So like I said, I'm 26 years old. So you got 26 years of my life where we haven't had a franchise quarterback, and for some reason I'm still a diehard Fins fan.
Y'all had the big 3. That's about it.
You know, so with that being said, is it fair to say that, and you kind of touched on it, I'm okay if they take a risk and it doesn't work at 5. You know what I mean? I'm okay with the Tua because of the high ceiling, the ultimate resume, the tape that we've seen. Just take the risk, and if it doesn't work, you legit have a fan base that's gonna be like, yo, you did what we asked you, you did what we wanted, as a fan base, and then we'll support you from there. Versus you have a guy like Herbert who doesn't have the resume, doesn't have the stats, really doesn't have much of the cojones and the reputation to be the man.
Yeah, just a little more subtle to him. He got that John Beck in him, or like that, that little bit more of a subtle kind of personality. That's not Miami.
No.
And Miami's made a lot of mistakes with quarterbacks bringing that type of personality. Quarterback is like a franchise piece, whether he's a top 10 or above, whatever, top, outside of the top 15. And so it's almost like when you compare it to basketball, your generation, all they've known has been Braun, Wade, Haslam, UD, Bosch, right now what we got going on, what we had going on before this shutdown. So, yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I see where you're going.
No, yeah, Jack, you answered it. It's just kind of, I guess my question was ultimately, if they draft Herbert, what is your initial reaction going to be? Fuck it, trust the process, or all right, here we go.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be that, because it's we ride or die.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, like I said, I think we're doing historic things. We didn't stop our training camp. Like most teams stopped their training camp last year. We just kept that shit going.
Yeah.
Like we just kept that. We kept poaching and churning and building that roster out from the bottom up. And if you bring somebody like Herbert, then you're thinking like I can mold this.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that I think you're taking just as much of a risk by doing that, by bringing someone that might have an injury history, a medical history, and be injury prone. So I would trust the process until they prove me otherwise. So far, this staff and leadership team has proven that they OGs and they know what they're doing, and they're dogs themselves, and they've done the homework, and they're going to be very effective. Although they're not going to be perfect, we can't expect that.
Of course.
And you pick Herbert, you pick Tua.
Belichick is making the picks from one of
Pick. You're doing
it
it again and again and again and again. And until you get a younger Fitz, or better.
Yep.
No panic.
Watching some of the pre-draft coverage, there's a lot of talk about the Miami Dolphins creating chaos in the first round with a potential trade up with the
Lions.
Lions. The Lions have been talking. They just said to the Chargers, the Jaguars, and the Dolphins. So the Lions they're in the mix, and the Giants also are looking for a trade down to acquire more.
There's a lot of
build the
thirsty
roster.
teams. There's a lot of TJ. There's a lot to chime in too quick. There's a lot of thirsty teams wishing they had 3 picks in the first round.
Love the verbiage.
So the draft's gonna start at 3. We know that, fellas.
Hey, we actually just got a comment. It's from the Golden Ant. It says, "Drew Brees, shall I say more?" What do you got to say to that?
You shall say not anything else. Like, you're right. I agree with that comment because Fins fan been through this. Miami people, we've been through this too much. It's time for your generation to love the aqua and orange the way that like my generation came up and loved it, and like we grew up in Dan Marino. Y'all deserve a Dan Marino. Y'all deserve those difference makers, those pillars. We had them in the form of Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, Ricky Williams, things like that, but not to the level of excellence, and that's what we need.
For sure, man.
Well,
We appreciate it. One more thing before you go,
No
man.
doubt.
What's your hot take? What's your hot take for the draft? One last thing. We want to ask all of our lifers that join on, man. What's your hot take for the draft? Doesn't have to be Miami. It can be.
I feel bad for the boys. I feel bad for these boys. This is like the event of their life. This is their livelihood. Moving on. This is how they can get their family out of, if they're in, needy situation, a hard spot. This is how they do it, and they got to be quarantined up to do that, man. I feel bad for them. I wish they, hey, Francisco, I wish that they had an opportunity to have the Vegas, without this pandemic, and have that opportunity to walk through that stage and dap up, the commish and do all that. I feel bad for those young men that are about to become professionals.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. We actually got one more lifer that just joined. Frankie's in the house.
Hey.
Love you, brother.
Hey,
All right, ciao.
fins up. I just want
Fins
to
up.
Love you,
Fins
man.
up.
Thank you
Love
so
y'all.
much, man. Appreciate
All right.
you.
Appreciate it, man. Love you, brother.
Appreciate it.